a blade, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shitty clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win, even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die.
Good morning, guys. Hope you had an awesome day so far. We got lots to talk about with Bitcoin and Ethereum. We got potential setups coming up here. Who we got in the chat? We got Noah. What's up, man? Coma. Sterling. We got Manny Boix. Wagner. What's up, bro? Mikey. Saluki Trader. Trip. What's up? Sluky, I gotta message you and see if we got an update on that. Buenos dias, Trip. How you guys doing? Okay, Brett, how you doing, bro? So, let's get to it. So, Bitcoin is coming down towards its valley area low for this range that we've been in for about 2 days now, almost 2 days. In about 2 hours, if we consider 2 days worth of time. I can update these very shortly. We're at the valley area low. We about deviated close to about 25% below the valley area low. We have a 15-minute order block right here that we just mitigated. We do have a golden pocket retracement drawn here, but it's not technically a valid retracement because we are still bearish, right? We didn't take this high. So when you're bearish, you should be pulling from your highs to your lows. When you're bullish, you pull from your lows to your highs, right? Whereas Ethereum structure kind of agrees with that bias, right? We did take the high with Ethereum, so we are bullish here structurally. So we did our pull here to here, and we had our golden pocket 786 zone. And right now we're on the 786. So it is showing us a little bit of relative weakness against Bitcoin based on Bitcoin's current positioning. So if Bitcoin fails to find support here, Ethereum's setup is not going to play out. So like what I'm kind of looking for is I'm more likely to take a trade on Ethereum than I am on Bitcoin at this point, because Ethereum has a lot of stacked confluences at the level that we're at right now. We also have a 15-minute order block, right? And order blocks tell us a story that there could be residual buy orders here. They're all likely complete. They are all mitigated now from that big red candle. So now we got to wait for the structure to define like a safe entry. So some people may have already jumped in, right? Jumping in here, but using the current strong low as our stop loss, which is way down there. Others, like myself, prefer to wait for the local structure to also agree. So we need to have like an internal change of character here for me to feel confident enough to jump into a long, and then target the active value area high for this little local range that we're in. That value area, where did my value area data go? anyways, the value area pull will be from here to here. And the value area high, it says it's here on the Bitstamp chart, but realistically it would be a little bit lower. The Bitstamp's data with candlesticks are sometimes a little messy. So yeah, a little bit lower. I'll be probably targeting, maybe around the value area high itself. When we get that bullish change of character, we have to watch out for some opposing confluences along the way. It's tough to see with the Fibonacci retracement, so I'm going to delete this. But we have our orb right here. So when we get up to this area, we might actually have structure be induced by this, by coming up and hitting our head, pulling back, and then giving us the structure that we need to break this momentum, and then come up to that value area high. So all we have the positioning for Ethereum. We're getting the positioning right now for Bitcoin as well. It's just all we're lacking is structure for the long. Coma, 1 minute Ethereum chalk. Yeah, that'll be the one. Those 1 minute traders. But yeah, let's zoom out on Ethereum so I'm going to show you why this is a good spot. So we have our local value area low, right? This is a spot where we'd prepare for longs, right? So all we lack when we get to these areas is the structure, right? And we zoom out a little further. Let's go to the hourly. We're also at the 70-day value area low, right? So this gives us a higher probability of a stronger continuation. Because if we look at this in a larger time frame, we're kind of just lacking the move up to define this as a double bottom recovery for this value area, similar to what we saw. Like here, we got a big double bottom. This is much more aged than what we're dealing with right now. And if we don't get that double bottom, and we instead get the lower low close, we confirm this momentum as resistance right here. So we need that recovery, right? And if we get that recovery, then we can start targeting the 70-day value area high, where this supply zone is, and we have the 50-day EMA that we got to watch out for. But as we get up there, we can see how we react to those for a potential early exit plan. But I would recommend, red boxing this zone as like your main macro target if we ended up converting this short-term scalp into a more of a potential swing kind of bound move. Now let's get this all set up. So here we go. Short. Visual order set it back. There we go. All right, so this could be supply issue. It could be some traders trapped that want to get out. We do have supply issue here that's flush with that 70-day point of control. That's at 3,086. So as we get up there, we got to watch in case we hit our head and come back down and range a little bit longer down here. So this, what we're dealing with right now, could be the start to the front run of a move like that if we manage to make our way up to the value area high of this like 2-day value area. Right? And now if we zoom out even further, right, we have ourselves at a 162-day value area low. So there's a lot of interest in the area that we're at, right? We had tons of buyers here for 162 days. And when we came back and got acceptance into this value area, we had a strong support here. When we came through here, we got that acceptance and it helped us run up. Right, so this is a big, strong key area that we got to watch out for our Ethereum. So tons of confluences here to prepare for longs. It's also a good spot accumulation zone for longer term holds. So now it's just a matter of just waiting for the evidence of support. Right now, our structure on the 15-minute time frame isn't great. Our key level is way up here, so we technically don't flip bullish internally until we break here on the 15-minute, unless we get a 2 candle pullback in a lower low, and then we could prepare for maybe a lower time frame double bottom break. I could see us coming up like we are right now, hitting our head here off this bearish order block that begins at 2,933. We're moments away from hitting it, and maybe coming back, using it to induce that pullback, and then we could prepare for proper structure for that long. You could also rotate to lower time frames, and you can get a better understanding of that, right? So we can see this is like supply on the 5 minute. We have the 15-minute order block and the orb low. So lots of reasons to hit our head here for a little bit of pullback, and then we can prepare for a better key level for a safer long setup. So that's what we're kind of waiting for with Ethereum. And Bitcoin, same kind of story, except the fib retracement's something that's less trustful. So we have our 15-minute order block, just like Ethereum does. We're at a value area low, except macro-wise, we are front-running like a 65-day value area low, whereas Ethereum is kind of like at it, right? So that kind of positioning with Bitcoin, that's the one thing that might make some people a little bit nervous, because if we, like, some people would rather us come down and test these kind of key levels, and we're kind of front-running a little bit. So macro-wise, we might not get that big move that we want, but we could still get that really good short-term scalp to the top of our range. How are we going? How's the chat doing here? We've got Block Party. How you doing, man? Overcome. What's up, guys? EDP is here. Oh, cool. Right on, man. What's up? Yeah, I know most people buy their Discord handles. Let's see. All right, so here we are. Ethereum's kind of testing this. Let's see if we get the rejection that we're kind of hoping for, so we can get better structure. It's not looking too good right now. If you aped in a long, you're probably happy right now. But if you did, your stop loss should be based on this strong low. It's a good move so far, geez. I don't trust this point of control. We talked about that this morning during our trade hunting call. That doesn't mean it's not a good level to watch. But this is the Bitstamp chart against USD, not USDT, on Perpetual's chart. So sometimes your value areas will look a little wonky. So I mark this as the proper point of control right here. And we got supply right here. VWAP catching up. Andrew. Bitcoin better come back down. I missed closing my short. Oh, Brodo. It depends on where you shorted from. Yeah, we had a kind of an Adam and Eve kind of posture here, and some people may have jumped in on that. The volume shelf kind of held us up as a form of support, and now it's likely to act as a form of resistance here. So I think there's good odds for it to come back down there, Andrew. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you're trying to get a better like P&L on your setup. But I would definitely make sure like you have your stop loss in place and maybe at break even, depending on where you entered. But yeah, we had this Adam and Eve here. If you jumped in on that break, you would have had this really fun little dance here with your stop loss above the strong high. And we were talking about this during this is a good learning lesson here. Whenever you see consolidation like this, and we have it's starting to get tighter and tighter and tighter in this pennant formation, you gotta realize that liquidity is being stacked in both directions. So it's one of the most common structures that give a quote-unquote fake out. But really what's happening is we're grabbing liquidity from one direction and then we break the other way. It happens all the freaking time. It will be break one direction, grab liquidity, then run up, right? So, I would wait for the liquidity grab whenever you see stuff like this. There we go. We're hitting our head off that volume shelf. You can mark volume shelves on your chart with a horizontal ray like this. And sometimes it makes it more It's a good helpful reminder if you're zoomed right into the price action. And you can mark it at local resistance, or you can literally label it as a volume shelf resistance. So you know why it's resistance. Good morning. How you doing, man? Crypto. Good morning, chat. I have a great day. Oh, Mexico. What's up? Yeah, after our London range, it happens a lot. Especially when London and New York meet. Yeah, that market maker battle from the mixed sessions. Okay, yeah, we're hitting head off the volume shelf. So Andrew, you might have a chance here to get better profits in your short, man. Ethereum, same kind of reaction off the supply here. 30-minute order block, be mitigated. Crypto, you're talking about a change of character. There's not one here yet. The problem is we didn't really have any proper pullbacks here. You need to have like 2 consecutive candles to define a proper pullback. And we didn't get any of that here. Didn't get any of that. Oh, we did get some here. That's a good key level to watch. But I'm hoping that we get a better key level by coming down a bit. But it look might be running up. V-shaped recovery. But yeah, I kind of pressed for time today. But yeah, I just really want to make sure I communicate like this potential setup here. I am still waiting for structure. I don't like limit ordering in my trades unless all my conditions are already met and I'm just trying to limit order in for a better R&R or better fees. So for example, if we had like let's say a bullish change of character, but the confirming candle was like way up here and I don't want to jump in on that, then I would jump in on between the confirmation and the invalidation point using a limit order, and I'd find structure or maybe Fibonacci retracement level to help give me a good key level to limit order in, and I'll just use a strong low as my stop loss. So it could either be off of like the previous highs, or like maybe like a golden pocket. That's usually the only time you'll catch me doing it. It's a lot more, helpful with macro structure. Let's see, is there any assets you guys want to go through? I know Solana would be a good one to talk about, actually. Solana is at a 252-day structural value area low. Zooming out on this thing on the daily. We were just talking about it this morning, so a lot of scribbles here. Yeah, so yeah, we're at the structural value area low for this 252-day range that we were dancing in for a long time. It helped us prepare for, fast moves down when we got acceptance into the range, moves back up when we got the bullish change of character and acceptance back into the range, right? Back and forth, and we're there again right now. After fighting against that point of control for the 5,000th time. So we could be preparing for a long to then fight against it again. And we'll see if maybe we'll get this like fat inverse head and shoulders posture to help finally bring us back up to the previous value high at 170. Jasmine. Okay, I'll rush into Jasmine for you. Let's see. But yeah. Yeah, so we're at our local value low from this range. And we've deviated away from a 32-day value area low. We're at a previous value high, and we're at that structural value low right here. So good spot to prepare for reversal. I did draw like this little triangle representation of like a little zone of interest, but it doesn't mean we don't go down a little bit lower before going up. So don't get married to this and try to ape in on it if anyone uses my charts. So look for structure. bullish change of characters is what I prefer when we're going into value areas like this. So we can then start targeting the value area high while being very mindful of the point of control. Luckily, based on this structure, there isn't that much we need to worry about other than the point of control and the VWAP for Solana. So if you jump in on a long here, so just watch these two guys right here and here. And then the next spot you have to worry about is the value area high itself, because we got a 15-minute and a 30-minute order block right there. I can mark that as a zone of interest for potential shorts if we get opposing structure. So short box and then send it back. There we go. All right, let's jump into Jasmy for Overcome. I appreciate the tip, man. You didn't have to do that. So we got, so January 21st was the last time we looked at it. So yesterday, Jasmy, I know we were talking, yeah, we definitely talked about it yesterday. We had our red box zone. We have a key level right here. Looks like we hit our head right off the key level. A really transparent story of us coming back down. So we had this double top right here. When we broke right here, that was a good moment to jump in, putting your stop loss right here. If you didn't trust it for any reason, you could wait for a retracement. And we did, let's see. Yeah, it looks like we did hit around the golden pocket. Let me just fix this so you can see it. Yeah, so we got the golden pocket 786 level. This is my favorite way of preparing for Fibonacci setup. It's just boxing the zone like that, right? And then between the golden pocket and the 786. And then we started coming down. That could have been a good level to jump in on with the stop loss still here. Same stop loss for this entry. If you take this Fibonacci setup, don't be greedy. I wouldn't, like, when it's that tight, right? Don't try to find a key level within it internally, because you'll 9 times out of 10 you'll get stopped out and then it'll go your direction, and that's the worst feeling ever. We can delete this now. This was made based off of this supply, which is tough to see because we had the fixed range volume profile in front of it. Now we can update this pole because we got acceptance back into the valley area when we had this pullback and lower low, right? So during that moment, you could have updated your fixed range volume profile pole. And now we can see that right now we're kind of dancing off of the point of control. So we're kind of on our way to a key level now to prepare for another short-term long back up. Is positioning. Yeah, so maybe we'll see Ethereum come back down, help driving Jasmy down, because Jasmy does have a lot of pairing liquidity with Ethereum, so it moves a lot alongside Ethereum's price action. So as Ethereum comes down to our key level, Jasmy should be approaching its valley area low right here, which is at 0.0071. So you can mark that right here. And then all you're going to get lacking when we get there is reversal structure. Maybe this time it'll give us a chance to get in, because a lot of the structure that we've had on the long side, at least for a lot of assets, didn't really give you that much of a chance unless you're looking at super low time frames. I can give you an example on Bitcoin's chart. We could draw momentum on Jasmy here, and could use this as a guide to find out how long it might take us to get down there. But we could also have evolving momentum. So it'd always be, once you have that break of structure, you can start drawing your momentum. And so it suggests that it would have taken a day and 18 hours to get to this point, or less, right? And usually it's less. Crypto's an impatient space. Probability-wise, most of the time we have our breakouts as well 30% prior to our apex point. So here, I'll be looking for like a bullish change of character. Even better if we like swept this low first. Right here, grabbing that liquidity, using it as fuel to help drive the price back up. If there's a liquidity taken, then you have a larger percentage chance that market maker activity might step in and help induce the reversal as well. So that's Jasmine, man. I hope that helps you out. Appreciate the tip. I'll grab, if you head to the Discord and you type in exclamation point charts like this, you'll be able to grab my Jasmine chart. I didn't mean to make that previous. Okay, there we go. But yeah, preferably a sweep of the low. And then bullish change of character, acceptance of the value area, and getting in on the close of the candle above, like any neckline for the chalk. You might not get retest activity because we have this valley right here. Right, we keep moving quickly between this. And if Bitcoin kind of told us a story that we could be reversing in the lower time frames right here, but I had a hard time trusting it. And the moment that you could trust it, you couldn't jump in. Here's an example. So where we have our 15-minute order block created was the confirmation for the move up. So zooming in on the 3-minute, I was talking, Coma brought this up. He was looking at this, and I kind of like talked him out of the trade because we had supply right here. But the moment it became safe, knowing that this was all mitigated, right? The supply was mitigated from here. The confirmation candle, like we need to have a confirmation candle for the break of structure, defining this as support and that this has been mitigated and that we're likely to get acceptance to the value area and move up. The confirmation candle is way the heck up here. So you didn't want to jump in on that. Entry here, stop loss here. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't have any R&R. Yeah, it would have hit your target, but it's not healthy practice to jump in on trades just because you know it's going to get there. You still should have the risk reward ratio backing so you can be consistently profitable long term, not just during that one moment, in case you're wrong. So that's the one thing that Jasmine had a hard time doing as well from these lows. Like we had the double bottom reversal structure, but the confirmation was way the heck up here. Hit our supply target. But we can now delete this. This is no longer helpful. So this is still a key level that you got to watch right here in case we hit our heads. But if we get acceptance back above it, the next spot you have to watch is the 50-day EMA in hopes that we get above that for a stronger continuation. And maybe we'll build a more macro double bottom posture to help drive the price back up. And this is the supply that's kind of inducing this neckline to bring us down. So getting a close above this gives acceptance into this demand zone and gives us a higher probability of rotating to the top side of it. And then we have to watch that 50 EMA. I hope that helps you out, man. Okay. Just press strong in the line and it's magnetic. I don't understand. How we don't need the pinpoint a line on the chart. Just press. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm gonna screenshot what you said and look it up later. All right. Yeah, I got the screenshot. Thanks, man. And TradingView is like Photoshop. There's so much little things that you can learn to speed up your TA. And all the command codes, all that stuff. Crazy. All right, we got our head hit off that volume shelf, coming back down. So we're gonna have some better structure for longs down here soon. The 15-minute looks a little bit blocky, but whenever you see like that blocky kind of price action, you can always rotate to a lower time frame to better tell a story. As long as you're aware of what's happening in the larger time frames in terms of their structural bias, yeah, you can always just zoom right into lower time frames. Okay. Let's see. Wayne, for a valid internal bullish breakage structure, do you have to have a lower low before breaking structure bullishly? Yeah, so this is the rules of a breakage structure, right? So you need to have first a change of character, right? And then every following pullback after the change of character needs to have 2 candles, right? Whether it be, if it's in a downtrend, you need to have 2 green candles. If we're in a uptrend, a pullback needs to have 2 red candles consecutively, right? The next rule that a lot of people don't know is the inside bar rule. And I don't want to overcomplicate things because it's not super common. But an inside bar rule, let me see if I can find you a good example of an improper pullback because of an inside bar situation. Okay. Well, what I'll do is actually I'll just pull up the lesson that I have inside the Discord so I don't waste anyone's time looking for one. But inside the beginner's corner of the server, there's a pinned message that will explain it really well. So here on the left-hand side is improper pullback because we didn't breach the low or the high of the inside bar, or what some other people call the mother candle, right? So if we don't breach that, this is not considered a healthy pullback. So we need to breach the low or the high, right? And then on the right-hand side is a proper pullback. We breached the high. And it would still be considered a proper pullback even if we just had a wick down here and then came up, took that high as well. So those are the kind of 2 rules you need to have met in order for it to be considered a proper pullback for the breakage structure. And then after that, you need to take out either the low or the high, right? Downtrend, you need to take out the low. Uptrend, you need to take out the high. Right here. Pullback, break. It needs to be a candle close below the wick. If it's not a candle close, let's say we come down and we wick instead and close back above, then that's an SFP, and that's a whole other form of structural criteria for a different type of setup. An SFP is similar to a change of character where it defines a potential reversal moment, right? So if we get an SFP, you target the most recent pullback as your technical target. So the targets for SFPs are simple, but sometimes they're not realistic. So you just got to make sure you look for barriers along the way. How do you measure Fibonacci? Where is the anchor? So there's 2 anchor points with Fibonacci. So when I click on this, you'll see them pop up on my screen a little bit more clearly. There's one anchor here, and the other anchor is right here. You want to do your pulls when we're, this is not a very good example on Bitcoin. Let me go to Ethereum because it's much more to the books. So when we're bullish, right? When we're bullish with structure, you pull from the low to the high. And to know when to pull is based on the structure between the low and the high. So if you start seeing like a bearish change of character, you can pull it early, but you shouldn't trust it until we start seeing like a bearish change of character or internal break of structure like this, for example. But yeah, anyways, pull from the low to the high and you have your retracement. And this is where you'd prepare for potential buyer's interests. Fibonacci is kind of like think of it like, if you do a lot of research on Fibonacci, you'll know it's all in nature. It's all based on energy efficiency, right? And in trading, it's like market efficiency, same kind of concept. So here we would prepare for buyers, and the more people that use Fibonacci, it's like the more likely it is going to be honored as a form of support. So using it on higher market cap assets is usually safer than using it on lower market cap assets, because you want to have a location where you have a larger amount of trade participants that be using a tool like this. Market makers use it, institutions use it, but market makers and institutions depend a lot more on where the liquidity is for their setups, because they need lots of liquidity to jump in with the least amount of slippage, right? So yeah, pull from here to here. You could do it like this, right? But then you need to change your settings to make sure that you're able to prepare for the levels on the right-hand side. And to change those settings under your Fibonacci tool, you got to make sure that you extend it. You click on extend to the right, and then you have all your levels aligned with your price feed right here. I personally don't like doing this because I like to mark horizontal rays like this for my points of control, my value area lows, my value area highs, and it gets way too noisy sometimes. So I don't do the extension. But if you're not a value area trader, I recommend you try to become one. But like value areas are like what got to me where I'm at financially. So yeah, if you're not a value area trader or you don't depend on noise being over here, then just, yeah, you can extend it or you cannot extend it. It's up to you. It's a little bit tricky getting used to Fibonacci. But what I recommend learning first before Fibonacci is master your market structure, because it's going to be the handicap for your Fibonacci pulls. Do you know who White Phoenix is? He uses structure a lot. I know who. So we have a coach inside our server, our community. His name is Lucas, who took the White Phoenix course, and he's got like a 60% win rate or 50% win rate just using market structure alone, without any indicator confluences. But I know that the White Phoenix is the one that kind of helped bring it to the space a lot more. Like he sells a course and stuff like that. I didn't take it myself, but I would like to take a look and see what his opinion is on everything. I looked at a couple videos from it, from a friend that shared some of the videos on it. Oh, I see what you're saying there, man. Okay, yeah, I'll look at that. All right, cool, guys. Is there anything guys you want to ask or anything you want to take a peek at? Really quick, I got maybe like 5 minutes before I got to leave. Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm always pressed for time. Whatever, any other lives, I'm usually good to stay on a lot longer. We're coming down. This is what we want to have. The more structure down here to help us define a good key level for our longs. Didn't Bryant take the White Phoenix as well? Yeah, I think he did, yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Usually whenever I see someone with a white chart, instead of like a dark one, I assume that they've taken the White Phoenix course. Especially if they got their change of character levels and their break structures marked in the proper spots and stuff. Good morning, Jillian. Okay, you're 75% out now, Coma? Right on. Very cool. All right, Jasmine's still inching its way down. Ethereum's giving us better structure to prepare for longs. Yeah, the good initial reaction. You'll notice that when you get good at Fibonacci, that you'll always see that initial burst reaction off of Fibonacci key levels, because there's a lot of people limit order off of them, and so we get a good initial reaction. But I'm not that kind of trader. I don't like to just zip in and out like that unless I'm forced out from opposing structure. Can we look at CAS? We could take a peek at CAS really quick. So CAS, last time we looked at it was January 16th. What were we looking at? We were looking at, move here, up, hit our head off of this value area high. After a break of this key level, we came up We hit this supply here. And then came down from there. Wicked up, grabbed this liquidity from this wick level. And then hit its SFP target. And came right back down further. So now we can update our chart based on the new data. Momentum has shifted a bit. So we got this downtrending momentum. So this is the pace of the sellers right here. Right? This helps tell you an ETA estimate as we get down closer and closer to key levels, right? So if you're targeting a key level, momentum will help guide you into knowing how much time is it going to take to get there. And right now we've been in an 8-day, 10-hour downtrend. It looks like we are seeing some accumulation, kind of get like Wyckoff vibes here going on right now. Wyckoff, if you look that up, it's a form of reversal structure, and it could help you a lot with preparing for some strong trend bound moves. We have deviated below a 22-day value area low. What I like about Cash's structure is that the neckline to a key level structurally is aligned with that value area low. So if we get acceptance back inside the value area and confluence at the break of that key level, we can start seeing price action come back up to the value area high right here. So we could see, like, based on whenever you see trend lines like this, from downtrends like this, I want you to think about the order flow, think about the liquidity, right? Every time we have a break of structure to get a lower low, that usually induces traders to jump in, and that induces more liquidity, more stop losses up here, and then that acts like a magnet to bring the price back up if you have the same, like a market maker bias, right? So this is a good spot to prepare. We did sweep this low, which is great. So we have less reasoning to continue down and more reasoning to go up. And what will be really helpful right now is to go through the heat maps. I'd mark using your measurement tool over here on the left-hand side, find out how much time has passed. And we see that 42 days have passed since we've been here. Or you can at least look at the downtrend time. You can do both. I recommend doing both. So 9 days. And then you go to CoinGlass and you want to find out, like, what is the liquidity bias within that time frame. So we looked at 48 days, a wraparound time for 48 days based on the available charts that we have on CoinGlass would be 3 months, right? 1 month wouldn't be enough time. So we want to look at the 3-month chart, and we got to make sure we pull up the right asset because that could be helpful. So we need to look at CAS. CAS should be on here. And make sure you pick a good exchange with decent liquidities like Bybit. It's a great one to watch. All right. So looking here, it's the 3-month. Yeah, we can see that we started grabbing liquidity from this low here. How much was taken? About 90K. Nothing wild. Most of the liquidity above us is clustered around 0.0456. So if we look at the structure, it's roughly around, yeah, this little guy here where we have this descending regression trend is where most of the liquidity is. So that's where I would be targeting personally if I jumped in on this, while being mindful of the point of control and supply issue that we have right here that kind of starts it all. So if you go to your chart and I would recommend boxing this zone as a zone of interest for potential opposing structure that could tell you to take some off the table, right? So if we get this break off of our current key level, and our current key level is at 0.0419. So we'll break at that. This is the pathing that I would prepare for. So coming up, potentially grabbing the liquidity here as exit liquidity. That could induce a pullback to retest these previous highs and the value area low. And then come up, hopefully get that unclaimed high. If we don't, if we have opposing structure, you get out. But if we do, then this is going to be an area that you're going to watch out for opposing structure next. Otherwise, if we break past this and we use it as support and get past this liquidity here, then this is what we'd be targeting next, right here. So you could have an opposing scenario here, but this is where you should be targeting in general if we do get that break. And once we do get that break and a pullback and a higher high, then you can start drawing momentum to tell you how long could it take for us to get there, right? But yeah, so that is CASPA. Hope that helps you out. It's looking good. Like position-wise, it's looking like it's good for longs. So we might see some strength in the market coming up soon. That 50-day EMA might creep up and catch up to that value area high. So you have two forms of confluences here to also prepare for a short. So as you jump in on a long over here, you just prepare for a really good exit plan here. Don't get married to your trade. Don't give up too much of profits, or else I promise you'll regret it. All right, cool. So that's CAS. All right, guys, I do got to head out. So I hope this all helped you out. We went through Ethereum during this live. We went through Jasmy, went through CASPA, and we went through Bitcoin. I know it's a kind of a shorter live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but yeah, my longer ones are on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. What day is it today? Today's Friday. Today's Thursday. So tomorrow is a giveaway. So if you would like to be a part of that, all you gotta do is join us during the live, and you'll be able to comment the word giveaway when it's time, and then you have a chance to win a $6,000 account from Klein Funding. I really, really, really appreciate everyone who's been liking, sharing, and following. We're starting to grow at a much faster pace. So appreciate all your help, guys. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need any help with anything. Spicy Sushi, I can look at hype for you, and I can do posts inside the Discords if you're a part of any of the Discords that I'm in. And have yourself a great day. See you guys.